Y'all, I have a pretty serious problem that consistently comes up throughout my life. And I want to know how many of you out there also have this problem, because I know I'm not alone in this. That problem is I find myself seeing potential in every single thing that somehow, some ways in my price range, and I find said thing on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist or just driving down the road, which causes me to make very poor financial decisions that start off, you know, very affordable, and there's one side of me that goes, oh, we'll just fix this and we'll fix that, and you know, it'll be a good four-wheeler or truck or dirt bike or whatever, and I'll just throw a little bit of money into it, enjoy it for a little bit, and kick it down the road. But then there's that piece of you that's like, well, if I'm gonna fix that part of it, I might as well fix this part. And if I fix that part, then I'm gonna fix this as well, just to, you know, make it run better or do the thing that it's supposed to do just that little bit more easy, if you will. And by the end of it, you have $5,500 into a 2000 Yamaha Warrior 350, or, you know, just as an example for... It's a rough life. So with all that being said, before I get into my latest and greatest financial decision that I'm going to sink way too much money into, I want to hear about y'all's projects that you find on Facebook Marketplace that you just so happen couldn't live without. Leave them down in the comments below, because I want to hear all about them. And with all that being said, let's get into my latest and greatest purchase. Mercy. So what we have here is a very sad and pathetic looking 2003 Honda 400EX that I picked up for the fantastic price of 350 bucks. I found this thing on Facebook Marketplace. A guy was selling it for $400, and obviously by the pictures you could tell that it was needing a bunch of work. The story with this thing is they were riding it one day and they all of a sudden lost third gear for whatever reason. Guy tore the motor out of it, stripped it all the way down to the engine cases, and for whatever reason couldn't find nothing wrong with it. Needless to say, he kind of gave up on the project, really didn't have any means to put it back together, because he bought himself a Raptor 350. Super nice guy. It was an absolute great experience talking to him, both in text and in person. I knew exactly what I was buying. He had it for $400 or best offer, and of course when you put best offer, you got to shoot him an offer. So he come down to $350. I picked it up, and I know in a working condition these things are worth quite a bit more. That being said, I bought this because I wanted it. Don't get me wrong, I absolutely love my little Warrior 350. I've done a pile of work to that thing, but I want more power. So I wanted to get something that has a great aftermarket to it if I wanted to put it back to stock, or if I wanted to upgrade to, say, big bore kit, cams, stroke crank, that deal. And I also wanted something like the Warrior that is known for reliability, because I don't want to be out on the trail and just have it catastrophically fail on me. So what better 400 platform than to go with a Honda 400EX. Now, I'm not saying that there weren't other 400s on my radar. I am a big Yamaha fan, but Yamaha doesn't make a 400. They make a 450 as a YFZ. I love those. And I'm not saying one brand is better than the other, because they all have their issues and they all break no matter what anybody says. But I was looking at a KFX 400. I was looking at newer 400EXs, mainly with reverse. I was even looking at Honda 400Xs, the redesigned 400EX. But I have some sort of infatuation with ATVs and bug headlights. Take, for example, my Warrior 350. Looks like a bug. It's got big stupid round headlights on it, and for whatever reason I can't get enough of it. So that being said, I really wanted to get a 400. In all honesty, I didn't care if I got Suzuki, Kawasaki, and Arctic Cat, you know, the triplets there. It's basically an LTZ 400, just with different plastics and different colors, and it's at its base it is a LTZ 400. Regarding the KFX and Arctic Cat DVX, and of course I settled on a Honda because Honda is known for reliability. So without further ado, let's take a closer deep dive of this thing, because boy howdy, I paid $350 and I got every bit of that. You get what you pay for is what I'm trying to say. So let's start off with the obvious. This thing was once upon a time yellow. And actually I have a picture that I'll post right here. I took a pressure washer to the back plastics to try and get some of the spray paint off, because it was all black, and you can see like spots of overspray right here. Like, it obviously wasn't prepped very well, because you could peel it off with your fingernail, and I can see exactly why they painted the plastics, because these things are all just scuffed up. Unfortunately, like, all the tabs are broken off to sit in this side housing here, or this shield for where your leg goes against the fuel tank. The seat's got this custom bolstering here and a ever so lovely custom seat cover. Bolstering really there to, I know it's kind of hard to see, yeah, but it holds you there for when you're doing all the big wheelies and stuff. Tires definitely have plenty of life left in them, you know, like I gotta get rid of these. These are neither one of the backs hold air at all, and obviously they're ball. Rims, or the wheels I should say, are a little to be desired. They're pretty rashed, but I feel like I could clean those up if I really wanted to. Same thing for the front tires, except they actually kind of hold air. So that's got plenty of wind in it. This one, yeah. So the front tires hold wind. Got some broken boltage all throughout. So like that bolt's broke for the bumper. And if we remove the seat, you see more of that like overspray, and you know, just wiring harness isn't in like the best of condition. We've got some custom welding right here. This was what they're using for the exhaust mount. Got some good solid welds there. The rear taillight mount is broke, and like this one's missing. This one's twisted, and then it has this little dangling thing on it. They have the axle nuts incorrectly tightened, so that's pretty common, but unfortunately that's wrong, and there's definitely some aftermarket for this. So if you stand directly on top of the machine, you can tell just by the way that it is that this part for your steering stem is straight. The handlebars, this side's bent back, and if you want the tires to actually be straight, like right there, the plastic isn't being held down, so that gives kind of a weird illusion. But now the tie rods aren't adjusted properly, because now the handlebars are straight-ish. Speaking of handlebars, you look at your electrical controls here. This is supposed to be there, and there is supposed to be right here. So your clutch lever is real good, but when you want to go hit that start button, you gotta crank your thumb over, really get at it. Surprisingly enough, the brakes work really well. So I mean, if you wanted to push this thing down a hill, at least you'd be able to stop before you hit a car. The front wheel bearings are just happy as can be. Now let's get over into the goodies I have over here. I'll save that for last because that's got all the bits and pieces in it. We have this absolutely lovely front bumper, and I couldn't imagine why that bolt would be broke other than the fact that it looks like it's racked off a stump a few times. And this thing, yeah, that's... Yeah, that's where that's going. Got some other plastic pieces. There's the other, I think, factory heel guard. Got the factory head pipe, but, so this isn't the exhaust that this bike came with. So this is a Big Gun Ecosystem ES series that I wound up trading the exhaust that came on this, which was a Sparks exhaust for this exhaust. And reason being is Chad's brother, you guys know from my riding videos and stuff as of recent, his brother has a newer 400EX with reverse. Jealous. Anyways, his brother has a newer 400EX that he wanted a louder exhaust, so he wanted the Sparks exhaust that came with this. But I've always been a fan of Big Gun, and if I stick with this exhaust, I'm gonna get the Big Gun head pipe as well, just to complement it. Got your factory airbox here. It's actually in really good shape. Aside from it's missing this tube up here that goes up under the tank and stuff. But this may be like an eBay sell or something, because there's a company, I believe CFM, that makes an aluminum airbox for these as well as the Warrior. So thinking I might go with the aluminum airbox. Got some pretty schwanky A-arm guards. I believe these are made out of aluminum, which I'm gonna be, you know, touching these up a bit because the rattle can on it, as well as it's held up, I feel like I can make these look a lot better. And also, when I traded exhausts, Chad's brother had a set of AC Nerf bars, and granted, they've seen some hours. They could use a little love, but what I'm thinking is I could clean these up. Maybe where this section is missing, I could cut that section out and do something with some new Nerf nets. I don't know yet, but these are some really decent AC Nerf bars that I wound up picking up for 75 bucks. So I see that as a win. And the cleats on them are still real nice and sharp, and way better than the factory crap that's on there. It also came with the mounts as well. And for the piece de resistance. Oh, so as you can see, the motor is ready to just go back in there and have all the zoomies. Let's get some of these pieces out. Here's your valve cover. There's the stator and cover. Still don't look too bad. We got the clutch cover, which I did notice that clutch cover's got some damage right here. So I'm gonna have to get a new clutch cover for it, I believe. That's unfortunate, but carrying on. Got the cylinder head and the jug here. Now let me just rearrange some of this. Come on. Where'd you do the thing? Thank you. Alright, we got the cylinder head, which honestly doesn't look that bad. I think if I surface this and cleaned up this old gasket material, and, you know, if these aren't all scarred up or nothing, I might be able to use this. The jug, or the cylinder, actually looks in pretty decent shape. I know I got some fat finger marks in there, but the timing chain tensioner was once upon a time swapped over to this manual style. And I don't And I might need some recommendations whether I should go with a different aftermarket chain tensioner or if I should like go back with OEM. I don't know. This is the first 400EX I'm tearing apart, so leave those comments in the bottom area below. One thing I did notice about the valve cover is that these little fingers right here are freaking seized. Like, they are super tight and don't move, which I know is not good. Also, these fingers for your cam are really worn, so might need to either, if I can save this and just get these pieces to kind of cheap out or whatever, might do that. You got your clutch assembly. The clutch actually didn't look too bad when I had it apart once upon a time, and I don't know if anything's missing. So he said he threw everything in this box. I imagine I'm going to be missing some things, but here's your cam and your piston and your engine mounts and your bearings and everything else that it needs. But piston actually looks pretty good, as well as the cylinder, like I mentioned earlier. There's your cam gear. Where's the cam? Right there. Let's see. Cam showing somewhere. Yeah, there's a pretty big lip there, so needs a cam. Cool, awesome. We could upgrade to a hot cam. We could go back with factory, or I can't ever leave nothing alone. Oil pump and oil pump housing. Don't know if this is good, but I imagine if I lose all the bolts, it'll just slap right back on there. So there's that little box of fun. Hey, see if I can get this out here. Awesome. So here's the engine, or the transmission, I'm sorry, in the bottom end. Crank is free, and I don't feel like any up and down play, so crank should still be good. I'll tear it apart and see. I don't see like any heat problems or anything like that, so we might be decent there. But I did check the transmission, and you get first, you get second, but it will not shift into third, so that's a problem. And just to verify what the previous owner had said, voila, the clutch side, and there's a bunch of like dirt and debris and stuff in there. Also, watch the shift star. It only goes to there, so that should be trying to shift into third, but it doesn't. So you got neutral. It doesn't really like to shift into first, but it will. You got second, groovy. Oh, third, woohoo! Nothing. All right. Need to inspect a little bit more, but yeah, that's the gist of it. So I think I have an idea in my head as far as I want to do with all of this mess. Of course, I got to tear into it a little more just to see how costly this thing is actually going to be. But yeah, should be fun. I'm excited to have a 400cc quad. Definitely, I want to compare the Warrior to it, but then again, I don't want to go back to stock, so it won't be a fair comparison. And granted, the Warrior 350 is modded to the gills, but I know for a fact the Warrior 350, even with all of its mods, I need to re-gear it in order for it to be competitive with a stock 400EX. So yeah, I want to make this thing just nuts. But I also want to hear about what you guys would want to see done to this thing. I'm not gonna put any crazy engine, or like it's gonna be like a 400 EX engine. It's not going to be like something stupid, to me at least, or it would be cool to do another engine, but I want this thing rideable, and I want it more or less the way it's supposed to be. But I want to see what you guys want to see as far as this project goes. What would you really want to see me do with this thing? Like, go balls to the wall like the Warrior 350 and do a high compression piston, a hot cam, you know, go through the engine transmission and hot rods, crank, stuff like that? Or would you guys like to see more or less like make it fresh and then after the fact upgrade? You know, get my opinions on performance upgrades and whether they're worth it after the fact, stuff like that. Because here's the thing, I've only ever ridden one 400EX, and it was bone stock. It didn't even have a pipe on it. So I know what that feels like, but it's been almost a year since I've been on a stock 400EX. I've also been on Chad's LTZ 400, and I know he's talked to me about what he has into his, and I liked it for the little that I rode it. But I kind of have an idea in my head, but I really want to know what you guys would like to see done with this thing. Because right now, the way she sits, I reckon I could probably get like 10th place if I entered her. All jokes aside, this thing needs a boatload of work, and if it's going to turn out anything like the Warrior did, I know it's going to be sweet, and I know it's going to be fun. I just want to hear what you guys have to say about it. But thank you all so much for watching. Let me know what you think of the new headache that is currently sitting there. And yeah, just let me know what you guys want to see. Until next time, I'll catch you guys in the next one.